So in our little pre-show meeting that Jake and I have before we start recording the show, we were just talking about like self-image and insecurities and things like that. You know what I mean? A really girly conversation, but it parlayed into who are some of our inspirations. And for those of you that know, I am the king of self-deprecation, or I would say the prince, or maybe the duke of self-deprecation.
The Archduke, yeah.
Yeah, because I know that there's other people out there that are way better at it than I am. But some of my inspirations growing up were David Letterman, Robin Williams, Eddie Murphy, Bernie Mac, and people like that. You know what I mean? They had a level of self-deprecation in a lot of their stand-up, their comedy, and a lot of their talent. So I use a lot of that. But another reason why I am the Archduke of self-deprecation is because being picked on so much as a kid, I figured, look, if I do it, then they can't. So I take the power from them. So when people call me fat, I'm like, you do realize that I have a career based off of the word fat guy radio show. It was so funny, Jake. One of the streamers that I follow and sub and have gifted subs for because I absolutely love him, Benny Streams on Twitch. He was like, I went in on his stream and I was like, hey, what's up, blah, blah. He says, you know what? I'm going to start calling you radio instead of fat guy radio. And so I hit him up in Discord and I'm like, I had to explain it all to him. I says, dude, don't think that I'm offended by the word fat. I mean, that's my product, bruh. Yeah, but that's what we were talking about at the start of the show was self-deprecation and things like that, and how I find it challenging for someone that I deem would have no physical insecurities. If they have insecurities and they voice those to me, I find it very difficult to understand.
Yeah, I was saying, like, we grew up in I have no idea how old Cory is, but, not too far off, I'm sure. But we grew up at a time where like the Gen X generation, I think found that, hey, this self-deprecation is sort of a weapon we can use,
Yeah.
like the one that stands out to me the most is Conan O'Brien.
Yep.
Where most of the talk show hosts at the time, you had Johnny Carson, where Johnny Carson was the king and everyone referred to him as the king. And he was the guy, and there was times where there were jokes at his own expense, but a lot of the times it was like they were playing jokes on each other, and that was that. But Conan came out, and he's like, he just walks out. He's like, I'm lanky, I don't belong here, I'm not worthy of this show. Yeah. And he's like, I'm gonna say all this shit before all of you can. Yeah,
and the same thing with Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac, a lot of his career was based on the fact that he would attack his upbringing, his family, and things in and around him. And then what he did was he would parlay that into parts of his fans' lives that were identical to his. You know what I mean? So, and I remember a lot of his stand-up, he would also, in a lot of his stand-up back in the day, he would say, don't laugh at me, you as fucked up as I am.
Yeah. There was... I think the way I was introduced to Bernie Mac was probably through his show, right?
The Bernie Mac show, the TV show.
Right, which I think a lot of people are introduced to Bernie Mac through that way. And yeah, even in that show, like it's basically like he's the butt of the joke. Like yep. He's, everyone's just walking on him. And the whole joke is that he thinks he's high and mighty, but he's really not.
Right.
And everyone's just sort of... Yeah. And that's
you got a 6-year-old. And Jake, to give you a little background on that, is that the Bernie Mac show was based off of a part of his stand-up in the movie The Kings of Comedy.
Yeah, I went back and watched all that stuff. Yeah.
Hilarious.
I loved all that stuff growing up because, and I was talking about this with a couple friends, right? When you grew up, you were either a Disney Channel kid, a Nickelodeon kid, or a Cartoon Network kid, right? And I was always the Cartoon Network kid, because I love, first of all, I love Cartoon Network, but I was also a Cartoon Network kid because I loved Comedy Central, and Comedy Central was channel 51 and Cartoon Network was channel 53. So that way, if my parents were about to walk into my room or something, I could be like, flip, flip, and I'm back on Cartoon Network, and they have no idea I'm watching Comedy Central.
This is where our age separation reveals itself.
Yeah.
Because I was a WB kid.
I was also a WB kid.
And the reason why I was a WB kid is because it was channel 61. And we didn't have a remote, Jake. We had the turn dial. And if the parents were walking by, you could easily go from 61 to channel 3 because it was so close on the dial. That's how old I am. We didn't have remotes.
when I was really young, we didn't have cable or whatever. Yeah, so channel 61. I remember watching they had the cartoon block on WB. A
lot of the Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Hanna-Barbera and like Animaniacs. Oh man.
Good stuff. The Animaniacs. Da-da-da-da. We are zany to the max. Da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da. I forgot the rest of it.
And they were the opposite of self-deprecation, actually.
Yeah, they were just out. They were out to cause self-deprecation and destruction because they were maniacs.
Apparently, they rebooted that show. I didn't watch it. I need to. I should.
They're also rebooting a movie that Donald Faison of Scrubs is in, Powerpuff Girls.
Ooh, yeah. It looks bad.
Does it?
Yeah, I like Donald Faison. He's playing the professor. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
That's a good casting. But I've seen some like set photos of it, and it's just like, ooh.
Kind of missing it.
Yeah. But I mean, we'll see. It's also like coming to the CW, and like the CW kind of...
That's the new WB.
Right, and I think they changed their name from the WB to the CW because they're like, we don't really want this channel to represent our company, because it's Warner Brothers, and they're like, we don't want this channel to be Warner Brothers because that was around the time that, they started doing shows like Smallville, and then like later came Arrow, and all these just like shitty, like the Flash show and
I watched Arrow for like the first 2 seasons.
And don't get me wrong, there is something to be enjoyed there for sure. Specifically with Arrow and Flash, like the first few seasons of those shows are like okay, but they both got pretty soap opera-y very quickly.
Very.
Yeah.
That's why I punched out.
Yeah, and even Supergirl, like the first season is so cheesy that you're kind of like, this is fun, but then it keeps going and you're like, oh man, this just feels bad.
Even though the actor that played an Arrow can actually do a salmon ladder.
A salmon ladder?
Yeah, salmon ladder. You don't know what a salmon ladder is?
No.
Salmon ladder is a ladder that doesn't have steps on it, but it has the hooks on the side where steps would be, and you take a bar and you jump it from rung to rung to rung.
I didn't know that's what that was called.
Yeah, it's a salmon ladder. And the actor that played what was the show we
Oliver?
were talking about? Yeah, Oliver. The actor that played Oliver
that's his name, right? In the show?
His name is Oliver in the show, the character's name. He actually appeared on American Ninja Warrior, where one of their parts of their course is a salmon ladder, and he actually did the salmon ladder, and he can actually do it.
Yeah, that's on the CW as well. The Ninja Warrior stuff.
Ninja Warrior isn't on CW.
Are you sure?
Ninja Warrior is NBC.
Is it?
Yes.
I think it used to be on the CW.
Probably back in the day. They haven't done it since COVID, but I do follow Adam Rail, who is one of the Warriors, and he's out of Scottsdale, Arizona. I do follow Adam Rail, and he's been hinting at some post on his Instagram that they were taping American Ninja Warrior, but he never really said it was American Ninja Warrior. And American Ninja Warrior normally tapes around January and then airs in the summer. So I don't know.
I
We'll
bet the
see.
I bet the hard thing with that show when it comes to paramedics, when it comes to COVID, because like you don't think of that show as like, oh, that's a lot of people, because it's like one dude doing the course and they could spread them out or whatever. But then it's also like you need paramedics there, and paramedics may be a little busy right now, and also like it probably takes a lot of people to set up the courses. And then also you kind of want an audience there, because that's kind of half the show is, getting that audience noise and stuff. So I bet that's why they didn't do it.
They did air last summer. They did tape one, and it was very weird. They did it inside of an arena, and normally American Ninja Warrior courses are outside. They did it inside. It was no crowd, but of course they piped in the crowd. They were allowed to bring like 2 other people, but the 2 other people that the Warriors brought to support them were other Warriors that were competing later. And it was just, I mean, they did it. It was a short, abbreviated season, but they did pull it off, but they did it all inside. And it was kind of weird because they were in the arena. And I want to say that it was in an arena somewhere in Seattle. And it was weird because they had the course turn. The course was, at a half moon in its design. And then all of their family and everybody was on a screen, popping up on the screens and stuff like that. So they found a way to do it. If they're going to continue to do that on the next season, I don't know. Adam Rail flew out to, I want to say Oklahoma or something like that. And that's when he was hinting at it. But American Ninja Warrior, normally they do a course in the East portion of the country, central portion of the country, west portion of the country, and then they end it in Vegas, for the finals. So I don't know. I haven't seen much buzz about it or anything official about it, but we'll see if they're able to work around it. And I believe that with a lot of states loosening up their COVID restrictions right now, they might be able to pull it off, even though Arizona had a jump in its COVID positivity rate. We went from 5% to 7% last week.
Yeah, still not too bad, but
no, still not too bad. Still under 1,000 cases a day.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, a little hope.
Speaking of hope, I hope we can start this show.
You're the one with the finger on the button, so start the show. 5, 6, 7, 8.
What is up, boyos? Welcome to the Jake and Cory podcast. I am Jake. That is Cory. What is up, Cory?
What is up, Jake?
Not a whole lot. Earlier, in our vignette, as you like to call it, we were talking a little bit about streaming, and there's been this hot take going around on the old Twitterverse of you know who Bill Maher is.
Yes.
Yeah? So Bill Maher basically came out and was like, streaming is dumb. It's a waste of fucking time. I don't know why anyone would enjoy watching streaming. It's fucking stupid. And the entire internet has just been like, fuck this guy. Fuck you, man. Everyone's like posting pictures of him at baseball games. And it's like, yeah, why would you watch anyone play a game? And, and everyone's just sort of roasting this dude. I wanted to get your take on that.
Well, Bill Maher is a 65-year-old man, number one. Number two.
That was my first thought. Was this is the most okay boomer fucking take I've ever heard.
Bill Maher hasn't been relative in how long? Is he even on the air right now? Does he even have a TV show?
He still has that HBO show. I don't know if anyone watches it.
On HBO. Okay, a paid platform. He's not on any big networks like CBS or NBC.
He's definitely running second fiddle to John Oliver, who's also on HBO.
Right.
Because you see John Oliver everywhere. You don't see You don't see what's his butt anywhere these days.
He's a second banana, and his comments about streaming, video gaming, is the result of probably him sitting around with this PR crew trying to figure out, how do I get my name on the lips of hundreds of thousands and possibly millions of people. And someone in the back, who was probably a Twitch streamer, came out of their mouth and said, hey, why don't you say something about streaming? That's a very popular platform that has exploded in popularity during the pandemic. Let's attack them. This is what this sounds like to me. Because he's been irrelevant up to this point, unless you have a very overly priced cable network called Home Box Office, which, by the way, shows the same damn 8 movies every month.
Well,
it's a waste
he is
of
on
time.
HBO Max. You could just get HBO Max. It's like $10 a month.
Yeah. You know who I don't have to pay $10 a month to see? People on CBS, people on ABC, people on
Twitch,
NBC. And you do have to pay for people on Twitch unless you want to sit through those effing commercials. Dude, Twitch, man, I got a couple of Twitch streamers that I follow that I don't subscribe to, but I follow. And dude, why did I sit through a freaking 8-set commercial break? It was like 4 fucking minutes.
The partners are, if you're a partner with Twitch, you're supposed to run like an allotted amount of ad time during.
He ran
streams.
8 commercials, and you know what? He's smart. I'm gonna call him out too. I'm gonna bring up my Twitch app. This is how far I've gotten into it, Jake. I have the Twitch app on my phone now.
I do have more to say about Bill Maher, but we'll get.
Yes,
back to
please.
that.
No, go right ahead. Go right ahead. I don't want to transition.
My thought on my thoughts on Bill Maher, more than just this take, because I do think maybe that's true, but I also think Bill Maher is just a fucking idiot, and like just completely out of touch. For one, I always felt like Bill Maher was just sort of a knockoff version of George Carlin. I always felt like he was just trying to knock off George Carlin, and he just like never did it as well as George Carlin. Like a stand-up comedian who is like sort of on the left, but like, you know, is edgy comedy. But I felt like he just didn't nail it like George Carlin could.
Yeah, he missed it.
And I also feel like ever since George Carlin passed away, he's kind of lost his influence, and he's just sort of, he doesn't know where he stands.
He just exists.
Yeah, and he just says some stupid shit. And he's always said stupid shit. I remember right after Stan Lee died, he made comments like, you know, it's disturbing how many people are upset about Stan Lee. You know, these books are for children. No one should care that much. And it's just like, dude, that's fucked. Like, first of all, you're a political commentary, and one of the best places, and I'm certainly biased because I fucking love comic books, but you know, one of the best places to put political messages and themes is in comic books. Like the very first like Captain America comic book is Captain America punching a goddamn Nazi, dude. Like like these are more than just kids books, especially these days, and that's just a dude who doesn't understand a whole culture, and he just says shit without thinking about it. He brings guests on there, you know, to like call them out, like Ben Shapiro or Jordan Peterson, and then just basically gives them a platform to spew their garbage. And that's basically what he does these days is he claims to be this, you know, very progressive leftist, when in reality he's just a conservative guy, and he's really fucking lame, and his comedy is not comedy, it's cringy. And yeah, that's just sort of my thoughts on Bill Maher. So anyway,
you think that he's part of the new movement that not a lot of people are calling out, we've complained and bitched about this thing called the cancel culture, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But smart people like yours truly have figured out a way to profit from stirring up the cancel culture. So you think that he's maybe just coming out of his left face just because he wants to stir up the cancel culture? Because when you do, you also bring people that aren't part of the cancel culture. Why the fuck can't I talk tonight?
It happens.
Son of a bitch. These big old huge chocolate lips are just getting in the way.
They are luscious. They're looking great.
Do you think that he is stirring up the cancel? Fuck it. I agree with your point, Jake.
No, I know what you're saying, because I'm not saying that cancel culture doesn't exist. I think I have gone that far before where I'm like, cancel culture doesn't exist. I don't think it's as extreme as what a lot of people say. I think a lot of people, specifically conservative pundits, like Ben Shapiro, or, you know, those are just like the big names that everyone knows, Ben Shapiro. And I think Bill Maher, to a certain extent, use cancel culture as like, hey, look, I'm the victim. You know, and they use this sort of like victim mentality, like, oh, I'm the victim. Look at me. Oh, so bad. Everyone hates me. Why does everyone hate me? Just for making jokes? And it's like, no, dude, like, you just suck, and no one likes you because you suck.
But you can also
cancel culture.
You can also use the cancel culture to your benefit, and that's what I think a lot of people are starting to realize, is that you can use that culture to your benefit, because what's going to happen is that if you stir up the cancel culture, you're also going to stir up the looky-loos, the ones that want to come in and look and see what the cancel culture is trying to cancel. And when they come in and they look and they looky-loos, guess what? You've now gotten the attention of eyes that you didn't have before.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of them do by using this victim mentality.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are like, oh, they're just like me. I'm cringy too. And I'm an asshole too. I'm being canceled. And it's like, so then they get this like huge audience of people who are like, oh, these poor people are being canceled. I won't cancel you, buddy boy.
Yeah, I'm going to stand behind you, friendo.
I got your back, dude.
I'm going to stand with you and chain myself to the tree of righteousness.
Totally, dude. I think like that whole group of people got famous because of cancel culture.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I totally think so. Not Bill Maher. Bill Maher's been around for fucking ever, but
that's a problem.
He uses it to his advantage, though. He talks about cancel culture all the time, and like, you know, when the Gina Carano thing happened, you know, like, which Gina Carano wasn't necessarily canceled. She just had a contract renewal, and Disney's like, we're not renewing your contract. It's not necessarily that she was fired. They're just like, well, you're kind of you don't fit our brand, so we're just not going to renew your contract.
And brands change.
Yeah, and that's totally fair, I think. You're not entitled to work for fucking Disney, guy.
No. Who do you think you are, an Olsen twin?
Hey, one of the Olsens is still very big with Disney, you know? She
both of the Olsens are very, they're immensely huge. They have just built up the most perfect screen to where a lot of the shit that you and I see in stores and on shelves and hanging on hangers, you don't even realize that the Olsen twins are behind it. They are the snipers of Hollywood success, and they have done it and traversed it successfully. They have agreed. It's like they've said, you know what, we're going to find a business model that doesn't force us to be in the forefront. We are going to be the sleeper cell behind it, and they just sit back and they rake in the money. They are worth millions and millions of dollars, and you barely see their faces now.
Yeah, because I think
genius.
What they ended up doing was they did like a fashion line, but they never like used their face as like a selling point. It's just
or their
like,
name.
This is the fashion line, and then that sort of expanded and expanded and expanded, and they've just continued to rake in the dough.
Yep, with young girls and kids and toys and makeup, jewelry, both real and fake, and you would never know that the Olsen twins are behind it, but they are. I mean, it's just a beautiful, beautiful orchestrated story of success for these, because for a while, you know, they were tabloid covers, you know, and people were like, they're washed
I think they hated
up,
it too.
they're hash bins, and they're like, oh yeah, I think they hated it too, and they're probably like, you know, since you guys are going to try to tear us apart because we're in the limelight, all right, we're going to find a way to continue to rake in our millions, but not be in the limelight. And I think it's a genius play. They are two smart and two very smart women. They don't have to have their faces out in order for them to make faces. People used to pick on them for their weight, their size, you know,
and they're just like, fuck that, we're out. Yeah.
They're like, fuck you. Okay, we're out. But you know what? You're still going to buy our shit, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Millions, so we can just start a business.
Smart play.
I don't know if you know this. You remember that show WandaVision? We watched the first episode.
Yeah.
Wanda.
That was all I watched of it.
Yeah, Wanda in that show. Well, we also watched Infinity War, and she's in that too. The lady with the red, like, laser beam sort of stuff out of her hands or whatever.
Fire the laser.
That's she's their sister. That's Elizabeth Olsen. Yeah,
Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah, she's a great actress, dude. She's really great.
Yeah, I agree. She's not she's not a 20. You know, she's a single baby.
Yeah, she's fucking great. I really, really loved WandaVision.
You know, I think twins do very well in Hollywood because look at Tia and Tamara Mowry.
What are they up to now?
Not a lot in the forefront. I think Tamara is on a talk show.
Oh,
I think she's on a talk show. But she recently was unmasked on The Masked Singer on Fox. She was the seashell. Spoiler alert. And you don't hear much about them, but they are still doing very well for themselves.
Dude, I loved Sister growing up.
Yeah, they're married. They're happy.
That show.
The only one that I wish would have been better off of Sister was the actress Jackée Harry.
Was that the mom?
The mom. I have known and watched Jackée since the days.
She's great in that show too.
She's amazing. All the way back to the days of her hot, loose hips in the TV show 227. I love Jackée Harry, but I haven't seen much about her lately, you know? Sister was like the last time. Now she's doing like little stupid game show appearances and game show judges and stuff like that, you know? And I don't know why, but I feel that when a celebrity that was at one time very popular ends up on a, 1 a.m. aired game show, I'm like, wow.
Yeesh.
Fall from grace. I mean, you were amazing at some point.
Yeah, I was a big fan of the dad on that show too, just because he had a killer mustache.
Yeah, I mean, that was amazing the mustache before the Steve Harvey mustache.
Oh yeah, he killed it. That was around the time of, we had Tom Selleck and stuff, and
that was the era of the porn stash. See, the white guys had porn stashes.
Yeah,
black actors and actresses just had killer stashes.
It's still a porn stash, dude. Come on,
dude. You can't put a porn stash. A porn stash has to be something that's like a little stringy. You can't black people with coarse hair can't have stringy mustaches.
I don't know, man. It's
like
still
you can't put a headband on a black guy and make it look like he's got bangs. You can't do that.
You can with a wig.
With a mullet. But speaking of Masked Singer, just real quick, they unmasked one of the characters on The Masked Singer last week, the Crab. And the Crab was Bobby Brown. And Bobby Brown had made it pretty far into the show. He made it into past the Elite Eight. You know what I mean? And I was surprised that Bobby Brown still has a little bit of his instrument. I had no clue that that's who he was, but they took that mask off and it was mother effing Bobby Brown. And I'm like, I thought the crack and the drugs had ruined his instrument, because when I saw him perform on the BET Awards, he was just, I let a step I take, you can't be there. But then when he was on The Masked Singer as the Crab, home dude was singing his ass off.
I'll be honest, I thought Bobby Brown was dead.
Well, everybody else, well, you know what? I'm not going to say that because we'll get canceled. But and when he was unmasked when he was unmasked on The Masked Singer, he mentioned his son that had recently died. He mentioned Bobby Christina, but he never said anything about Whitney. He never once mentioned Whitney. And I thought that was very interesting. And I don't think anybody picked up on it because The Masked Singer is just plummeting in the ratings. And
I think everything is, because another thing that happened, it honestly just came to my mind, even though I watched the whole fucking thing on Sunday. The Oscars just happened.
I heard that was a train wreck in the ratings, the lowest ever.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people are like, people don't care about the Oscars anymore. I think that is true, but it went from 20 million last year to 9 million this year.
Wow.
But I think a lot of that,
holy monkey.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that has to do with just I don't think a lot of people watch a lot of movies this year, so a lot of people are like, were there even movies this year?
Yeah. But dude, did they? I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
You had messaged me and said that you were watching it when I was trying to be a friend and reach out to you and possibly hang out with you, but you completely shut me down. Nevertheless, you said that you had watched it. I didn't watch it. Did they have a host this year, like an official host?
There was no official host.
Again, with this crap, were there any musical performances at all?
So all the musical performances were all done pre-show,
pre-taped.
Yeah, they
did
a lot of
everybody else is doing it.
Not even during the show though. It was all during the red carpet. There would be someone who came up and they're like, "Hey, this guy did the score of this movie," and then they would cut to a little performance thing, which was weird.
Only thing I heard about the Oscars was that Wakanda Forever did not win. He lost out to someone else who wasn't even there.
Yeah, he lost to Hannibal Lecter, the guy who plays Hannibal Lecter. Yeah,
who wasn't even there. So
right,
that's the extent. But I don't know. It's very interesting that they're. I don't think it has anything to do with there not being a lot of movies, because there were some movies.
But I don't think a lot of people were aware of those movies.
But I think maybe people are just tired of these self-aggrandizing fucking award shows for celebrities that are already living the life.
Yeah.
I think maybe people are starting to punch out on that.
Well, I think, I do think so, but I think COVID has a lot to do with that. I think, I think if it were a normal year and COVID had not happened, I think we would have seen a drop from 25 million to 19 million or whatever this year.
But they've been falling in the ratings for the last 5 years, right?
They have, but the trajectory has been they went from 60 million then down to 55 million, and it's been a slow, but this one was 25 million to 9 million, and I think COVID has a lot to do with that. And I think every show is struggling because also I think just people being home, people just don't have fucking cable anymore either. A lot of people are just doing the streaming thing, and for me to watch it was kind of a struggle to figure out how to watch the fucking Oscars. I had to ask for my sister's Cox login so I could stream it on my computer, and it's dude, you should really just stream the Oscars for free, or sign a deal with Hulu or something.
They were on Hulu.
No, they weren't.
I looked at my Hulu on Sunday and it said Oscars live.
I think they had the replay on Hulu, so you could watch the replay.
No, it said Oscars live. I mean, don't hold a gun to my head, but I believe I saw that.
The only way I could watch it was on the NBC official website, and it was locked unless you had a cable service.
Yeah, unless you have I don't know. Maybe that's the case too. I mean, dude, there were a lot of streamed movies that I read were up for Oscars. You know what I mean? A lot of actors and actresses that were in streamed movies from last year. So I can tell you this right now, man. You may be alluding to something that you're not even aware of. Broadcast television has really got to get a handle on this streaming platform. You know what I mean? Just developing an app to have someone streaming from their phone on a replay. I don't find that in direct competition with streaming services that are just so far and above and ahead of these broadcast networks, and I don't think the broadcast networks are taking it seriously. I almost see that. I mean, look at the struggle you went through to get the Oscars. You shouldn't have that struggle in 2021 with the pandemic or not. Streaming is totally bending broadcast TV over its leg right now. And it's almost reminiscent of the Netflix Blockbuster takeover, where Blockbuster just kept sleeping on this and thought that, okay, we'll let people, rent DVDs outside of our building and not have to come inside and get a movie or, whatever. They tried to do something because they tried to do something that was insignificant. And unfortunately, it was not fast enough or quick enough to combat the onslaught of Netflix. And I feel that now with Amazon in the running and with Hulu joining, you don't even need to watch broadcast live sports anymore because Hulu has live sports. I'm thinking that these broadcast networks are not really catching up to these streaming platforms yet. And then YouTube TV, you know what I'm saying? And I know that there are things that are on the broadcast network that you can stream on these other platforms, but that's still, from a business standpoint, a loss of value, because then what's the point of you having a broadcast network if you're just going to partner with these other streaming services? And the one person that has figured this out was Disney. And that's when Disney, if you remember a couple of years back, Disney ripped all of their shit from everybody else and said, you can't stream this anymore, Netflix. You can't stream this anymore, Hulu. You can't stream this, YouTube TV. You can't do any of our products. We're taking it all in. And everybody was walking around like, a red ass baboon in the Amazon desert, just scratching their head, wondering, what the fuck is going on? And then boom, here's Disney Plus.
Yeah. I think we're seeing more platforms like that, like Paramount Plus. Peacock is like the new one, which is NBC. But yeah, I think a lot of like broadcast television these days are like, well, we'll play it on TV, and people who have TV can watch it there, and we'll make our money that way, and then we'll sign some sort of fucking deal with Hulu or Netflix or whatever, and we'll make money that way too. They've just diversified their income streams.
But the percentage of people that have streaming services, like I am now officially part of that market where I have nothing but streaming. That's all I have in my house is streaming. That's it.
Same.
There is no broadcast TV coming into my home. So with the market shift being more drastic and growing every day, and even took a huge leap during the pandemic, you would think some of these broadcast networks would say, okay, you know what? Maybe this over the air shit is done. Maybe this, and nothing's really live.
What are they supposed to do though,
Go the way of streaming, because that's where a large portion of the market is at this point.
A lot of them are,
But they're double dipping though. It costs them to run something on broadcast, and it costs them to run something on stream. Yeah, they're pulling in profit from both of those things, but imagine how much more profit they would have if they were to go the way of the Netflix specific. I mean, dude, Facebook has its own fucking streaming platform at this point, and they've got big names on it.
And that's what Peacock is doing. But I think what we're finding with Peacock is people are just like, I don't give a shit about an NBC streaming service. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Disney can pull it off because they're fucking Disney. Like they have, if you have a little one, like that's the fucking streaming service right there,
Yeah. It's very safe.
That's hard to do when you're fucking, TNT,
But when Netflix and all these other streaming services were coming on board, these broadcast networks knew. They knew these companies were coming.
I don't think they did. I don't think they realized it was gonna get this insane.
Probably not. But then you know what you just explained? Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And where's Blockbuster? Blockbuster has been shoved out of the market. And here's another threat that I don't know if the networks are starting to recognize. These streaming services, yes, they're contracting with these networks and and paying them money to air some of their products. But in the midst of this, of them airing products from these other networks, these streaming services are also producing their own shit. So what they're doing is that when they produce their own shit, because they have that broadcast market's attention, they're putting in their own shit in there in the middle of it, which is going to sway some of that broadcast market to focus a little bit more on that direct produced stuff by the streaming services. Ergo, Netflix's rise to success.
Definitely.
So they're actually stealing some of their market, thinking that, oh, we're just on their platform because their platform is popular. But in actuality, it might be a little under the table swipe of some of their market.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't think like a lot of these television companies realize that that's what was going to happen with Netflix. Because, you know, when Netflix first came out and it was the streaming service, it was sort of this fledgling thing. And, you know, they were the dudes who delivered the CDs, and they're like, well, we're going to try this streaming service. But everyone's internet was kind of shit at the time.
Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't seem real. And they're like, oh, they're going to pay us to like put The Office on there? Sure, take The Office. You can put that on there if you pay us.
Nobody's watching it at 3:00 in the morning anyway, but fat dudes that are lonely and depressed with their bucket of Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah, so they're like, all right, we'll put The Office on there, we'll put this on there, and then Netflix is like, oh, by the way, here's Daredevil, which is just a banger of a show, and everyone's like, whoa, Netflix can make like kick-ass shows, dude. Yeah, and then
that market and they've continued to produce more. They've continued to pull the big names. And then they get hits like Stranger Things. They start producing movies. You know what I'm saying? I believe what we're both saying is that this is Blockbuster all over again, and the broadcast networks are Blockbuster, and Netflix is Hulu and YouTube TV and all these other. YouTube TV, I don't think they have a production company where they're actually producing their own
I think
YouTube's
TV
shows.
I think YouTube's like produced a few.
Yeah, Amazon definitely has, and then you have.
I actually just finished Invincible. God damn, that show's amazing! Holy fuck!
And then you have other small production companies. Well, not other small production companies, but production companies that are not under the ticket of some of these big studios, like the Tyler Perry studio that can produce a movie and can produce a TV show and sell that directly to a streaming service, and he doesn't even have to go have a conversation with a broadcast network. You know what I mean?
HBO has always been like ahead of the curve when it comes to TV, right? Like even back in the 90s, like the shit they were making in the 90s was like ahead of its time for sure.
Yeah, Skinamax. Yeah.
Well, there was Cinemax, but like HBO was doing things like Sex and the City. They did The Sopranos. Like they had these like bangers of shows that you're like, damn, this is TV. This can be on TV. Like this is incredible. And of course, HBO being HBO is like, dude, obviously streaming is the hot shit. So HBO was quick to get on that streaming service stuff. Like they were quick to get on that. They were in it before like anyone else was. They were one of the first big TV companies. And now I feel like what NBC's doing with Peacock is just them sort of last second trying something out.
Exactly what Blockbuster did. We're on to something here, Jakey. We're on to something here. It's a last minute ditch effort, but the market has already moved. And the pandemic supported that market move, especially with the fact that internet is now in places that internet wasn't before.
Yeah.
So now there's a whole new segment of the market that's going to be opened up to these streaming services.
It's all the same thing though, because like all the people who were working at, NBC or whatever are now just gonna go to Netflix or Amazon or whatever, and it's gonna be the same thing. And now like instead of pitching your show to TNT or to these different broadcasting centers, now you're pitching it to Netflix, you're pitching it to Amazon. It's the same thing. But it's just a little better because now instead of like we have to wait until 7:00 to watch the show, it's just there and you can watch it whenever. So ultimately, I think this is going to turn into it's basically cable that you can watch whenever the fuck you want.
And I love that. I love Hulu.
Yeah.
I love watching all my shows on Hulu. I pay for the no commercials additional Hulu. It also, opens up another can of worms that these streaming companies can just send you an email and say, hey, in 30 days, we're raising our prices. Either pay it or go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? That's another thing that I hate about the stream, or a thing that I hate about the streaming service. And then, because I was like, I got one of those from Hulu. My Hulu subscription went from like $19 to like $25. And it made me think, well, now I know why so many people freaking bootleg your shit,
But the really, and I think this cannot be understated, the difference between cable and streaming services is with cable, you had to buy these packages and you had to buy these contracts, and you needed this sort of like, you needed this dish, or you needed a box installed at your house. You needed a guy to come out. Now it's like, you could get this streaming service for a month. You can cancel it whenever you want. Yep. You don't need someone to come out and install your shit. You could just watch it on your phone, stream it to your TV. Yep. Like it's that simple, and it's just so much better. Even if it ends up like, everyone's concern is like, well, it's going to end up costing the same as cable. And it's like, well, yeah, that seems pretty inevitable. But like, it's still better than cable, even if it ends up costing the same.
I can tell you right now, I am saving, I would say roughly around $70 a month.
Yeah.
After shutting down my, because you don't realize it's not just the cable service and the TV that you're paying for. You've got the box, the equipment rental. You've got the insurance so that when something happens to that shit, you don't have to pay out of pocket for them to come out and fix it. You know what I mean? You got those stupid little taxes that no one knows anything about, and surcharges that no one knows what the hell those little $2, $3, $4 surcharges are. That shit adds up in a month. You know what I mean? Sure, they're advertising, get our cable packages with 25 channels for $29.99 a month. What they're not telling you is that there's about another $40 worth of fees that are going to be tacked onto that bitch at the same time. I'm saving almost $70 having almost every streaming service available to me right now. I have Netflix, I have Hulu, I have Disney Plus, all of them. And I'm still saving money, even when they adjust their prices.
Well, and the other thing you have to consider is with cable, it's a package, right? So you're paying for, hundreds of channels sometimes. So
that you don't even fucking watch.
Right. And like some of those channels you don't even watch, but it's basically like paying for 100 different streaming services. Now it's like, well, I only want Amazon, Netflix, and HBO, and maybe one day I'll want Showtime because they'll have a show or whatever, and I can cancel one thing and get the other, and you can kind of curate your stuff whenever you want. And that wasn't the case with cable, where it's like, oh, I don't have Showtime, but the show is on Showtime. The only way I can get Showtime is if I pay for that Showtime package, and that's a 6-month commitment to Showtime, where now it's like, oh, Shameless is on Showtime. I can get Showtime streaming and pay $10 for a month, watch everything I want, and then cancel that shit, And
not even pay $10 a month. Just watch everything you want within the trial period, and then kick that bitch to the curb.
Well, HBO, when they started doing the big movie releases, they've been releasing like Kong versus Godzilla was the first big one, where they released Kong versus Godzilla both on HBO and in theaters simultaneously. So what HBO ended up doing was no free trials, because everyone's just gonna use their free trial to watch Kong versus Godzilla. They're like, no, if you want to watch Kong versus Godzilla, you have to pay for it. Like, sorry.
And that's smart. You know what I mean?
I don't have nothing wrong with an issue with that.
Nothing wrong with that, but I'm going to tell you right now, before I pay for them all now, but there was a time before I paid for them that I was like, yeah, everybody's talking about this thing. It's buzz. It's coming out, and I'll just try it. And I took the trial period, watched it, boom, bam, went on my way after the trial period ended. You know what I mean? I did that with Fubo TV. Fubo TV sucks ass, but Fubo TV was the only way that I was able to get some Division I NCAA finals basketball games. So I signed up for a trial with Fubo TV. Now I fucked myself because I missed the date of it ending and ended up getting charged $80. Yes, $80 for fucking Fubo TV.
Because it was an annual thing, huh?
No, it was monthly. The sports package on the sport to get the deep rooted NCAA games. I'm talking Grand Canyon University, not a leading university in the NCAA bracket. Their first time ever being to the big dance. They were airing their games on this deep network, and it was only available for streaming on Fubo. So I signed up for Fubo TV and watched the games. Okay. I missed the seventh day within an hour, Jake. Within an hour. It was literally like 1 a.m. in the morning, and it blinked in my mind. Bloop. Oh, shit. I need to cancel Fubo TV. And I went to cancel it, and it says it will be canceled in the next month. I'm like, oh, crap. Went, open up my credit card. Boom. $80.96. Fubo TV.
That's horrendous. That is the one thing that I don't think streaming has figured out yet. Is sports. I still feel like sports they just haven't figured it out yet. And I think the reason that they haven't figured it out yet is because people still buy cable to watch sports. It's like, and that was the
only reason why I had it was for Phoenix Suns games.
Yeah. Because it's always on TNT and they don't put it on anything else. Same with like football. It's always on NBC or Fox, like you have to have those channels and
Hulu has it, but then it's an additional package. It's like an additional $10 or so.
It's bullshit. They're fucking Hulu has live sports, and it's like what? Like tennis?
It's like, they had boxing on earlier, Jake. What are you talking about? Boxing
I don't want to watch boxing. I want to watch fucking basketball, dog.
Boxing for boxers that I had no idea who they were, but it was on Hulu.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's still better than cable.
I don't understand like why these sports like just to have like, the NFL Network does exist, but it's not all the games. Just do that. Just charge $15 a month for the NFL Network. Everyone will buy it. Or everyone who likes football will buy it.
Which is pretty much everyone in America.
Yeah, all the Americans will buy it for sure. And then NBA, same thing. Just have the NBA Network and then everyone will buy that shit.
Well, they do. It's called NBA TV, and
it's shit. It doesn't have everything on it.
It does actually. You can, if you have an NBA subscription that allows you have the package that allows you to watch every game in network or in home or out of home. Meaning that if you're like live in a state where you have a home team, you mark it as your home team, and you can buy a package where you get all your home games, all your home team games. But you can also get a package that allows you to watch every fucking NBA game that's being played that day. But then someone allegedly has this link that does the same thing for free, allegedly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that's what streaming services have found. Because this was a big thing with music, right? Like Napster was a thing. And everyone was stealing music. And for a long time, people just stole their music. iTunes became a thing and some people started buying CDs on iTunes. But still, people, for the most part, during that era, were just stealing music. Up until recently, I don't think a lot of people steal music anymore because things like Spotify exist. And it's just like, I don't think people inherently want to steal shit. They just want that convenience, and it's like, dude, it's just way more convenient to steal it. I would pay, but like it's just so much easier to steal it. But like if they like with Spotify where they're just like, here, have every song basically ever fucking made for like $10 a month or whatever. Sure, I'll pay that, and then I've got basically, I feel like I'm still stealing music, only I'm just paying a monthly fee. And that's the same with like streaming services. I think a lot of people were like stealing these shows for a long time. Like everyone was stealing The Walking Dead back in the day. I remember that in high school. Like no one had AMC, Everyone was just
No.
torrenting The Walking Dead and watching it at home. But now, all of The Walking Dead is on Hulu, and it's like, well, I could just fucking get Hulu. It's all right there, and I don't have to like click on this sketchy link and download this sketchy thing. I just pay this one-time fee, and I get to watch it all. Like,
and you can add your family members' email addresses and let them watch it too.
Yeah.
You can have multiple TVs all across the city. Yeah. My kid still watches my Netflix. Has the family Netflix account signed into his phone and his TV and his PS4 or whatever the hell that thing is.
Yeah, I had to upgrade my Netflix package because everyone uses my Netflix and I didn't have enough screens. So every time I went there, and it's like, there's too many screens being used. So I had to upgrade my fucking Netflix so I could actually use my own Netflix.
Oh, that explains why my password stopped working. I'm going to need that again, Jake, please.
Yeah, I think sports will find that one day, though. That
they'll figure it out, but sports is an entity within itself.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to rope-a-dope them in, because here's the thing. When it comes to sports, especially football, people are going to go to hell and high water to get their football and their sports. It doesn't matter. And I'm telling you right now, NBA TV is hella expensive. I think on the Cox platform, it's like $59 a month. And people don't care because you get that extra NBA stuff, and then they play classic games. I had it for a while. Then they play classic games and, shit like that. There's a whole lot more on the NBA. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. You even have a channel where it's just the game. It's just the game camera. No commentators, no overlay graphics, no commercials. It's just the game camera. And you just hear the ambient sound of the arena. That's it. Like you're actually there. You don't hear all of that. Even though in the new Phoenix Suns arena in downtown Phoenix, when you walk around in the concourse, you actually hear Al McCoy, which is really cool. Who's the Suns broadcaster, for those of you that may not know?
I think the one, I guess, advantage that sports have over, just like your traditional NBCs or TNTs or whatever, with the streaming platforms, I think a lot of people were like, well, I'm just not going to watch whatever's on the AMC channel, and I'll just watch whatever's on Netflix. You can't really do that with sports. It's not like people are going to jump over to the XFL because they don't want to pay for NFL. It's like, no, we're watching NFL. They have a monopoly over that. So I think that's why sports has held out so long, even though it seems so obvious what they should do, which is just create their own streaming services and make it super easy for people to watch what they want to watch.
Or just buy a ticket and head down to the arena.
Well, can't really do that right now either.
Yeah, you can if you luck out.
Yeah.
Suns had a game the other night, and I swear that our arena, it felt like they say it's 60% capacity, but I'm kind of thinking it was more close to 75% capacity, but they still have like the, social distancing and believe it or not, some people do follow the protocols, except for the one guy that cussed me out because he wanted me to put him on the big screen. And I told him you have to put your mask on first. And he said, fuck you. And
welcome to Phoenix.
He just happened to say that while the arena security was standing down the tunnel. And bye, sir. See ya. No, you can't cuss at the stab, brother. You was out. Audi 5000. And then we were leaving the game last night, dude. And you know how they have the cops, Phoenix PD, and directing traffic. Well, there was this one guy that was just like, mouthing off to one of the cops that were standing in the street, and the cop purposely was fucking with him. The cop purposely made him wait until he let all the other traffic flow, and then he let him go. But the guy in the truck made one mistake. He burned rubber and flicked up dirt because everything around the arena right now is under construction. He flicked up dirt at the cop that was standing in the middle of the street, pulled around the corner. Not even 5 seconds later, a motorcycle cop. He was just waiting for that dude to just go the extra mile, and he did by peeling out. And whoop, right behind him. And then, dude, everybody that was standing on the street, all the fans that were crossing the street were like, how did you not expect that to happen? You mouthed off to an officer that's just directing traffic because you wanted to go and you couldn't go. And then when he does let you go, you decide to pill out. You don't think you're about to get a ticket. I was like, come on, man.
I hate Phoenix so much. That Ducey is pushing a bill right now to make abortion illegal in Arizona. Just like, fuck, man, fuck this place. And then I don't know if you saw this video though. Not to do with Phoenix, but our old pal Trump. He's kind of back in the news a little bit because he's been hiding out at Mar-a-Lago, as we all suspected.
Yeah, because all the Republicans are going to him.
But it's actually kind of sad. It's kind of sad to watch. There's this video circulating. Apparently Trump just like goes out on like the front of Mar-a-Lago and just like talks to the 5 people that are at Mar-a-Lago for whatever reason, and he's just like, Pennsylvania, we're looking into Pennsylvania, the election was stolen, and he just sounds like like this crazy old guy that's on the porch of his house, just like, hey, listen to me, kids, the election, it was stolen from me, it was stolen. And
what about Rudy Giuliani? I heard that something happened with that dumb motherfucker where he opened up his mouth and put his foot in it again.
Yeah,
people were talking about him. I didn't dig into it because I'm still disconnected. The only story that I did hear politically is that I guess one of the Republican senators or something during Uncle Joe's State of the Onion address fist bumped him or something, and now she's being attacked by her own party or something like that. And I'm like, what? They can't fist bump now? What the fuck? It's
yeah,
not like she pulled his pants down and gave him an old snarling and decided to sign off on all of his bills and stuff like that. She just fist pumped the dude while he was coming down the aisle.
Yeah,
she literally reached across the aisle.
Yeah, and these are the people that are like, he's our president, you should respect him, with Donald Trump. And for the most part, I think the Democratic Party was way too respectful to Trump when he was in office.
Way too respectful.
We talked about it a lot where like, the Democratic
it's the
Party.
Pussy Party.
The Democratic Party constantly reached out, the first stimulus package that Trump did, there were Democrats that voted yes on that because they're like, yeah, we'll reach across the aisle, we'll make this happen. And that was not the case, with Biden. And Biden did a speech last week. I don't know if you watched it.
No.
It was very good. It was a very good speech. That adrenochrome is really working out for him. He seemed very, coherent, and what he said was very good, at least in my opinion. He was talking about, childcare and, making childcare more abundant in the United States, which we've been lacking in for a long time. And a lot of just basic shit like that was like super easy, and just all the Republicans are like, how dare he offer childcare? That communist. but then it, like the camera would cut to Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz is like literally like falling asleep during Biden's speech. It's like, dude, why do we pay these people? It's ridiculous.
That's one thing that people don't realize is that you're actually paying these people with the sweat off your brow.
It's ridiculous. And they continue to vote for him. I don't
vote for him. They do. You vote for him.
Well, I don't vote for Ted Cruz. That's what I mean.
Mm-mm.
No. Well.
Was that your you know what? In this show, I cannot speak anymore. I am done speaking. These lips have gotten in the way. These lips are going to go get the closest pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream, rip this shirt off, sit in the corner, cry, and eat it and be fatter. I'm done with talking today. Fuck. And I talk for a living.
Yeah, well, I did see that you did a live show today, so that might have something to do with it.
Sure.
Oh, pre-recorded. Got it.
You know what, Jake? Why don't you just rip the fucking fourth wall down? Why don't you just blow that bitch up, Jake? Why don't you just blow up the fourth wall?
I think I did.
Fucking hell, man.
I think I
did. You have no radio magic whatsoever.
No, it wasn't pre-recorded. It was live.
Yeah, they believe that now.
Yeah. I mean, if you made a big deal out of it.
Fucking monkey chicken, liver, and pizza cheese.
Thanks for watching the show, everybody. This
isn't a video. See, you don't even know what the fuck you're doing. How are they watching this, Jake?
They're looking at that.
How are they watching it?
They're looking at the thumbnail on YouTube.
They're looking at that stolen internet thumbnail that you stretch all the way across 1980.
Hey, you got to make it fit 1280 by 720, dog. That's just the
thumbnail. You do, but you got to find a bigger thumbnail or a better thumbnail than your pixelated penis pictures you put on YouTube.
All right. Who has the internet magic now? All right. Come on now.
I just wanted to say pixelated penis pictures.
Thanks for watching or listening to the Jake and Cory podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you follow all of our podcast feeds, Spotify, Podbean, all those things, iHeartRadio, iTunes, or Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. We're on all of them. Also on those podcast feeds, you will find our spoiler casts, which we just finished up, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And this Wednesday, to fill in for the lack of Falcon and Winter Soldier, we recorded a spoiler cast for Invincible, which is a fantastic show. I absolutely adore that show. Also, the Loner Gamecast is live every Monday at 3:30 on twitch.tv/lonercast and is everywhere else Tuesday. That's the show.
5, 6, 7, 8.
I also interviewed a animated teddy bear.
I already did the 5, 6, 7, 8.
I know, that's going to be